How's it going, everybody? My name is Artorigold, and today I want to talk about a really cool strategy that I think works on every single level that we saw South Korea use in the Overwatch World Cup at BlizzCon. Now, this strategy is extremely good against goats, it's really good against dive, I mean, it pretty much covers everything, and it's very easy to pull off, and it really doesn't take too much coordination to do. So, I really want to get into what South Korea is trying to do, and here we can really analyze it. So as you can see, they're basically just holding the high ground. They have an Orisa D.Va, Junk Widow, Mercy, and Zen. Now personally, I think you could get away with swapping out the Mercy for an Ana, but I think Mercy also is really good in this strategy. And what their initial goal here is to basically just allow Widowmaker with the damage boost from Mercy and Junkrat with the damage boost from Mercy, kind of alternating, and they're just going to get this nice line of sight where Widowmaker has free reign on everybody because he's protected by defense matrix and the Orisa shield at the very beginning, so he has a lot of great opportunities to maybe get a pick on one of the supports or a squishy hero in general if they're running one. If they're running more of a goats comp, then that's when you'll see Mercy kind of switch to damage boosting the Junkrat instead. And that's really one of the key pieces here is Junkrat, because not only is Junkrat really good against goats, being up on the high ground allows him to actually peel for his teammates. For example, if the enemy team is running a dive composition and they decide to dive on the high ground, well, if that happens, then you have Junkrat shooting double mines in your face with some of his bombs and a trap, and you're basically just going to get annihilated by everybody. So it's a really strong anti-dive, it's very good at peeling, and also it works really well against a lot of tanks because Junkrat with that damage boost is going to compensate for a lot of the weaknesses for having the Widow. Widowmaker is going to work really well against squishy comps, and if the enemy team is going to run a Widowmaker of their own, then having your Orisa D.Va and the Mercy damage boost gives you a huge advantage in the Widow 1v1, because really it's not a 1v1, it's basically your whole team, and the Widowmaker has all this support that he's able to get all this free line of sight on people. So as you're going to see, they're going to immediately dive right here, and what happens when they do that? The Junkrat trap is going to stop the first person. See right there, they get the Genji who dashes up there with a nano boost with the Winston and D.Va, and as you can see, he gets immediately trapped. So it's very good at stopping dives, not just because of the damage and the burst. The trap from Junkrat is actually a really strong tool that you could put on these windows and pieces of high ground that allow you to get anybody who dives on you stuck, and you're able to immediately just headshot them as Widow and just able to unload a bunch of bombs right into their face. So as you can see, the strategy is very effective, and I actually recently tried doing it myself in some scrim matches with pretty good success. Mind you, we made one tiny mistake, which I'm going to get into. The reason why you pick D.Va in this team comp, because the Orisa, Junk, Widow, Mercy, and Zen are basically going to stay on the high ground as much as possible, and D.Va is going to be this utility character that's basically going to contest the point and use defense matrix to stay alive and reduce all the damage for a few seconds, and then fly back up. So nobody really wants to touch the point in this situation, and you know, it's kind of like a really hard point. You want to stay on the high ground, but at the same time you need to contest a point, you can't just give it to them for free. So that's what the job of D.Va is, and as you can see, the Genji gets in there and immediately gets into a trap, because Junkrat just puts a trap on any one of these tight narrow windows or corridors, and the first person to go in there is going to get immediately just melted. Even the deflect from Genji isn't going to save him for very long, especially because Junkrat, if he's smart enough, he could just throw a mine around the deflect and do AoE damage behind it. And here is where we're going to see the strong point of Junkrat. You're going to get the ults from Riptire so quickly, and you're completely safe up there on that high ground that you're able to just be like this artillery unit, just pumping out massive damage on the point, and then you let your D.Va kind of contest the point as much as possible. And if you really do get in danger, and in other words, if you're kind of losing the point and the strategy is not working for you, what you're able to do is you're able to retreat and back off, give them a little bit of space, try to regroup, because if you're on the high ground, what you can do is, instead of like, basically you have a rotation, you're going to stay on this platform, number one, and then if they move into the point, or if they move into the hotel, you then want to move your rotation to point number 2, which is this line of sight over here. So you have these two line of sights, which point that way, and then as soon as they move in a little bit closer to over here or onto the point itself, you then rotate to 2, and then as soon as they get into an even better position, such as this area, or if they go indoors, which allows them to try and get on the high ground to number 2 and fight you from that way, instead what you can do is you can go over here, which is the 3rd window. So you have all these areas where you just constantly rotate, and that's not it. There's also the window over here, which is the 4th window. So basically you constantly deal damage and you constantly rotate from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and you move as a unit, continually doing damage to the enemy team, waiting for cooldowns, giving them a little bit of space, because you have 4 areas where you're able to deal potential damage to the point. Every single angle that you can use as Junkrat and as Widow to attack anybody who's trying to contest the point, and then you just let the tank either protect the people on the high ground or the tanks to go onto the point itself to contest. Usually that's going to be D.Va's job. Thinking of it from a strategic point of view, it makes so much sense, especially considering the King's Row map layout. This team composition seems like it has so much potential to work. Now, only if you can get that to work in a solo queue situation, right? It's really hard to get 6 people to work together, especially if you're on a team, and doing it in solo queue ladder, I mean, it's pretty difficult. So what I'd like to go over here is how I'm using this strategy with my own team in some scrim matches, and I might even give some volume away on how we're doing the shot calling, and how we're calling out things like rotations, and how we're playing it, and how it works out for us. In summary, before we get into it, I think we played it very well. I think we made one huge mistake, and you'll definitely notice that once we get to it, but I think overall we definitely played the strategy as well as it possibly could have. But the thing is about this, and this is, if you lose the point, you immediately need to switch. 2nd point of King's Row and 3rd point of King's Row, you don't want to run this team comp into that. It's just not very good. I don't want to get into that right now. This is mainly just a 1st point hold in the strategy to do that. So obviously we're all going to get on the high ground at the very beginning of the game, and we're trying to get basically we're trying not to reveal ourselves. You notice how we're not, like, it's 3 seconds left and we're sitting, like, we're hiding here, and we're hiding in this building, and we're hiding in the stairs. We're basically trying not to give the enemy team as little information as possible, because if you reveal yourself right here, then enemy team can see you. I showed myself as Zenyatta, which was kind of a mistake, to be honest, but I'm okay with it. I hope the Discord overlay isn't too annoying for you. Basically, we're all going to pop out. We're just going to sit here, and we're going to I'm going to do right-click volleys, and everybody else is basically going to just do as much damage as possible. So immediately here, we see that the enemy team is running goats. Well, there's a couple things we get. One, we see that the enemy team is running goats, and we see that they're trying to rotate, which is a very good thing that they're doing. They're trying to go basically around. If they see us on the high ground, then there's no point just going right here to the control point, because if you see a Junkrat, I mean, why would you go point here? You're not going to be able to contest anything up here, especially if you're goats. What we're going to do here is I'm actually going to turn on the volume so you could hear how our shot calls were going in this moment, and hopefully it's not too loud.
They use personal and fire strike. I'm rotating.
They're going through hotel. They're in hotel.
Good.
Full goats. Let me get a lot of spam damage in.
Pulling them back. Ryan low, Ryan.
Yeah, run. Focusing shield.
I'm dropping.
Keep poking them. Yeah, run one, nice.
Okay, how do you? Zarya.
Yeah, Zor one.
Big pull. Lucio.
Nice.
Or more in a pin.
Nice. Lucio's lit. Good job.
Stagger.
Where's she at?
She's up top.
Let's take high ground again.
You can go points and choose your name or like 6.
Let me know when both of Zarya's bubbles are out. I'm gonna try and tire squishies though.
So hopefully playing those sounds and those shot calls and the callouts and all that stuff was kind of helpful for you guys, because calling things like the rotations is extremely important in this strategy. You need to make sure that you call the rotations and you're able to move and you're able to help each other. For example, when the D.Va is diving the Widowmaker at this point, we immediately need to be able to help the Widowmaker. I put the orb on her, I start discording and dealing damage to the D.Va, and then the D.Va is also going to get a huge stagger time here, which I'm really happy that we're able to do that. I drop off the point right here, which is really good, because if the D.Va sits there and tries to use the Bunny Blaster, the easiest thing for her to kill in that situation is usually the Zenyatta. So I'm basically just going to drop off the point, and the baby D.Va is going to be just staggered. We're going to defense matrix her, we're going to sleep her, we're going to try and wait till she gets her mech back, and then we're going to finish the kill off. I don't know, we probably played that pretty perfectly. I think our shot calling was really good, our targeting was really good, but what we're going to get into here is basically the mistakes, and you're going to definitely see it here and how we just screw this up. I do think our rotation is really good here though. We see that they're trying to go all the way behind us. As you can see, we're kind of calling it out, and we're rotating to point 4, which was what I was discussing earlier. We kind of call points by either 1, 2, 3, 4 or A, B, C, D. And you see how they're all going to rotate towards us. What we're going to do in this situation, there's a couple of things we could have done in that situation, by the way. So first off, they did a really good play. They went all the way back, they went up this alley, they went underground, and they went up the stairs to point 1. And then they tried to make the transition to point 2. And then they saw, or maybe they realized this, is that the transition from point 2 to point 3 and 4, right here, this is 4, going to 3, which is the window, what do we got over here? It's nothing but one tiny, narrow hallway. And who's here? We got Junkrat. What does Junkrat excel at? Shooting bombs at cluster areas, right? And point 3 is the most clustered area of all time. Imagine how much damage and kills we would have got if Zenyatta, not even just Junkrat, we could have just done Orisa shooting all of her bullets in that hallway, my Zenyatta orbs in that hallway, the Junkrat orbs in that hallway, and Widowmaker shots. Not a single one of those shots are going to miss unless they have like damage mitigation, like defense matrix or something, or a shield. So what they decide to do here, which I think is good, so as you can see, what they try to do here instead is they just give up and kind of go to point. But what does that really accomplish? We're up here on the high ground already, and we're already doing all this damage. All we really need to focus on is to use our ultimates and make sure that we can contest the point as best as possible. So here our Orisa drops on the point, and he needs to try and touch and contest, because as you can see, our Diva lost his mech. And this is the one part of the strategy that I actually think is the hardest, and that's contesting the point with this strategy. And typically that's going to be involving the Diva. It's the Diva's job to touch and not touch and get the kills and be able to contest the point and get the kills and get out and not have to worry about contesting it after we get those kills. And as you can see, we have to kind of force the responsibility on the Orisa. Huge purple nade, by the way. Having the Ana on the high ground allows for gigantic nades, which we can really capitalize on. See, look at that. We get this huge nade on 3 of them. Here's the problem. Are you noticing it? We have Transcendence, we have the main tank, we have the 3 purples, but what do they have and what are we not doing? We're not touching the point, and we just give them the payload. We just give them the point for free, and we easily could have prevented that. I mean, I had my trans going, we backed off, and we had an advantage with the purple, so that was our huge mistake, and I can't wait to go back into scrims and to try to fix these mistakes and to practice this strategy more. I think this strategy has a lot of potential, and it's only going to get better with characters like Brig and Doom being changed, and some characters being buffed too, and Ashe coming out. There's a lot of different, like, characters that I can maybe replace with. I mean, for example, we can maybe even get rid of the Widowmaker for Ashe, or replace the Widowmaker with McCree, since his right click is getting a huge buff. He might even be really good too. So there's a lot of potential with what's going to happen with these changes, and I'd like to see how the strategy is going to evolve, but I do think the biggest thing that we all need to worry about if we try this is to remember to not C9. C9ing sucks. It's awful, and we just did it, and we just gave them the point for free, and we so could have killed them right there, and it makes me really sad. Anyways, that's all for this video. I really wanted to talk about how South Korea utilized this really cool strategy on King's Row, how effective I think it is, how big brain I think it is, everything about it. I love it. The strategy, everything about it works so well. It's insane. If you're not on a team, get on a team, tell them this strategy, show them this video, try it out, let me know how you guys like it, how it worked for you, because I think it's an insanely big brain move to try and do it. I mean, 900 IQ, easily, right? So anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. I just wanted to show this and share this strategy with you guys. So that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.